childish sometimes.
Welcome everyone to episode 56 of the Omega Podcast. I am Wes, and today we're going to be talking about the Dalek Handbook. Hey, what does this button do? Gross. The Dalek Handbook was put together by Steve Tribe, the same author of the TARDIS Handbook, but this time Steve worked with James Goss to compile a report on Doctor Who's most famous villains, the Daleks. The Dalek Handbook, published by BBC Books, is 160 pages, and in this review I'll be going over the different parts that make up the contents. The introduction is a brief 2-page section that touches on the creation of Daleks by writer Terry Nation and how the Doctor's worst enemy became our favorite TV friends. This handbook also has a dedicated section on Skaro that discusses geography, flora and fauna, and the dominant species such as the Khalids, the Dals, and the Thals. This section does a good job of describing how horrible the planet of Skaro really could be. The next section in the Dalek Handbook is, If They Call Us Mutations, What Must They Be Like? This section of the book mixes the storyline very well with production information, including who the Dalek operators were and who has voiced the Daleks through the years. I was glad to see the authors did a fine job of discussing the Peter Cushing Doctor Who films that most new Doctor Who fans probably have overlooked. The next section, entitled, We Have Changed the Pattern of History, reviews briefly how the Daleks began tinkering in time travel. The chapter touches on the semi-lost episode, The Power of the Daleks, and many other episodes that dealt with the Daleks and time travel. This chapter also provided quite a bit of information regarding the hierarchy of Daleks, including the Dalek Emperor, the Dalek Supreme, Commanders, and Leaders. We Foresee a Time is one of my favorite chapters. It covers a lot of history with Davros and what some consider to be the start of the Time War. This chapter has wonderful insight on the creation of the character Davros and recreating his character for the new Doctor Who series. There is also a funny section titled Daleks Don't Like Stairs that covers some interactions with Daleks who have been chasing characters in different episodes. Elevate! The chapter, They Went Off to Fight a Bigger War, really does go into the detail and idea of the Time War between the Daleks and the Time Lords. I really enjoyed the chapter's look on Doctor Who's 16-year hiatus, with information on the Doctor Who TV movie, Big Finish audio plays, and the Last Great Time War. There is also a wonderful article about Robert Shearman and how he got to pen the first Dalek story for the new Doctor Who series in 2005. Mr. Sherman's episode Dalek is still one of my favorite episodes of all new Doctor Who, and it's really great to read his thoughts. The following chapter, Surviving the Time War, covers just that. This section provides thoughts and information on new series Doctor Who episodes that feature the Daleks as the main enemy. There are some really nice conceptual drawings for this new series Daleks that were used from 2005 through 2010. The new Dalek Paradigm chapter talks about the newest design for the Power Rangers. Oops, did I say Power Rangers? I mean Daleks, that first appeared in 2010. The chapter has a sidebar article writing on the new paradigm which talks about Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss' decision to make the Teletubbies, Daleks, more colorful like the 1960s movies version. Sadly, I wish there was a sidebar in this section titled Apologizing for the Paradigm that offered an apology for making the new Daleks look like parts of Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat. This chapter does provide a great section on displaying the different models of Daleks through the years, which is informative and very fun to look at. The pluses for this book are the wonderful pictures, the transitions between presenting information on Daleks as characters and stories, and then television production tidbits was done extremely well. You can tell a lot of research and hard work has been put into this book. The major drawback for this book is similar to the TARDIS Handbook. The size is way too small for the amount of pictures and illustrations displayed. I also thought there was too many sections on voicing an icon that featured Nicholas Briggs' insight or comments on his role of being the voice of the Daleks. I think one section would have sufficed and probably had more impact than peppering them throughout the entire book. Overall, the Dalek Handbook is another handbook I would recommend you add to your bookshelves if you haven't already. The price of $15.99 in the US is well worth it. Go get it now before you are exterminated. Well, that takes care of episode 56. Make sure to check back in about 2 weeks to our audio podcast where we will be reviewing the Series 6 Doctor Who episode, Let's Kill Hitler. Before I sign off, I want to send a special congratulations to the folks over at the TARDIS Tavern who just released episode 50 of their Drunken podcast. Congrats, guys. May you and your livers see another 50 episodes in the future. You can check out their podcast by going to tardistavern.libsyn.com. And thanks for everyone for tuning in to the Omega Podcast. Make sure to send us some feedback by emailing us at theomegapodcast@hotmail.com. Now I have to get this leather shirt off. Boy, does it get sweaty with this thing on.